Hello, my name is Carol Wachniak. It's a pleasure to be here. So, for those of you who don't know me or are not from the Chicagoland area, we have been doing births as doulas and midwives for 40 years. We've served over 4,000 families, and my daughter and we've delivered 1,200 babies. My daughter was the midwife of the practice, and she passed away a year ago. And she had done her internship with the Amish community. So, but the story behind the story is when I was 8 years old, my mom was a volunteer up in Evanston, and her role was to pick up the babies from the hospital for moms who were giving up their babies, and they would come and stay at our home until they got their forever home. So we had the privilege of having all these little cherubs come and stay with us. One day, I got out of school early and we went to the hospital, and my mom was picking up a baby, and this nurse was very angry, and she was treating this baby very roughly and abruptly. And so, out of the blue, there was a piece of tape on its back, and this nurse just ripped the tape off the baby's back with the number on it, and the baby started to bleed because the flesh tore. My mother was livid, just livid. Well, I didn't realize that that moment would be the trajectory that changed my life. So my mother grabbed the baby, cared for the baby, reamed out the nurse. We left the hospital. And back then in the 60s, there wasn't any car seats or infant seats. So I was holding the baby. And I looked at this little baby's eyes, and he had lost the sparkle. It was like he knew that he wasn't loved, wanted, or valued. Now, we don't know the story of why the mom decided to give up the baby, but I had felt in my heart that if she had known that this would have been one of his first experiences in life, she would not have given him up, that she would have done what she could. And so, somewhere in my little brain at 8, I had resolved that something had to be different. I didn't know what, I didn't know where, I didn't know how, but I did know that when I got home and I saw how much my mom just poured the love into her, just or him. And by the time, a few days went by, that little sparkle was back. And then eventually this little one went to a forever home, and years went by, and I had ended up getting married, having my own children, and I had a profound experience. My first baby was a frank breech, but I didn't have a C-section, and all my friends were having C-sections. And then with my two sons, I broke my tailbone, and I was afraid of having my tailbone broken again with my last baby at the time. And I looked for a practitioner who would let me choose the position that I wanted to deliver in, which was hands and knees or standing up or something other than the potential of breaking the tailbone by being on my back. Needless to say, at church I found Cindy Model, who was a Bradley teacher back then, and Linda Graff, who was a certified nurse midwife, and she was teaching at Loyola, and they became my practitioners, and I had a home birth. And it was wonderful because I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't break my tailbone. After they left, we were at home. And when my kids woke up in the morning, we were all sitting in the living room. And that changed the game for me. Cindy was a Bradley teacher at the time, and I decided to become a Bradley teacher. And as soon as students started to arrive at our door, of course, unwed moms started to show up. And this one young girl, she had found herself pregnant, and her parents kicked her out, and the boyfriend ditched. So, what is she going to do? So that's when we started an unwed moms ministry in our home. And I'm very proud to say that all but 2 babies are still with their birth moms. And those 2 babies were open adoptions. And the one baby, her mom became her babysitter, her godmother, and traveled with the family. And she got a scholarship and became successful. When we're faced with challenges, there's solutions. And the baby was never the problem. The thing that I've learned early on was once the baby was born and once the baby was here, the family members, their energy, all the fear that said, hey, something, whatever the story is. And that's what it is. It's a story. How can I take care of him? How blah, 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 blah. What we found was that the solutions started to show up. The parents, the moms, the extended families, grandmas, grandpas, whatever, their hearts melted because they had this baby in their arms now. And so the average mom didn't stay much more than 3 weeks at our home because by that time things were settled. So we had home birth, hospital births, birth center births, wherever the mom or the clients wanted to go. So of course, when you're a child birth educator, then on top of everything else, you're asked to be at a birth because you've built a loving, hopefully trusting relationship. And it's an honor to be there. So birth is a lifestyle. It's an experience that we go through. There's 2 areas in life that we experience that no one talks about is birth and death. And so our doulas they work with earthlings and angels. It's sad how many moms have miscarried since the COVID and how many family members have somebody that they've lost. And for that, we're profoundly saddened by that. And we have to train our doulas on how to be supportive of the extended family life experience, not just the individual experience. How to support the dad and be his home court advantage team. So we have the doula certification program. When the COVID hit, there was a lot of families afraid to go to the hospital. Some of which had said they wanted to, if they had to, be unassisted. I don't want anybody to be alone or afraid. So after my daughter passed away, and we had talked about this for a while already before she passed, and we set up the Doula Family Legacy Certification because we are a legacy business. We're 3 generations, serving 4,000 families and delivering 1,200 babies is not a small thing. Serving those families from our heart and embracing them and taking them in is our clients become our long-term extended family or friends. So I have 6 daughters and 2 sons. So all my daughters have worked as birth workers. We had the junior doula certification program when they were young. So if our clients were doing a home birth and they had young children in the house, they needed some kind of care, supervisory care. So my daughters, if there was no family members in the area, my daughters would come and support the family as we were supporting in the different roles as doulas or midwives. Or if there was a doctor or a certified nurse midwife or whoever the primary care was, we were there to fulfill those roles and meet those families' needs. So we've had different situations. We had one client who really had a hard time with postpartum depression, and she really needed additional services. And we took care of the baby while mom was in the hospital getting better, and we were there to support the family. So what does a doula do? Mostly, we're there as your primary support person, emotionally and physically, an encourager, an advocate, an educator. We're there to help you. We encourage our couples to attend childbirth classes so that they know what's going on in the processes. And then for you to share your dream of what do you want your birth to look like? Who do you want to be there? What options do you want? Do you want to, do you want to have a water birth? Why would you want a water birth? Because it decreases the discomfort by 80% for one. And the warm water on the perineum helps protect it and brings more oxygen. And the baby doesn't change environments until you lift them out of the water. Because he's in a water environment, he's getting all of his oxygen and nutrients through the umbilical cord. And so when he makes this transition out and into the birthing tub, he hasn't transferred to lung capacity until you raise the face above the water. So I'm very, very, very pleased with an ongoing program that we have with our doula family certification. It's a 1-year program support where we debrief, called Heartbeat Conversations. We debrief the births. What worked well? What can we improve? What are the mom's needs? What are the dad's needs? How can we meet their needs? We make recommendations for practitioners all the time. How to choose a hospital, how to choose a practitioner. If they're planning on circumcision, no circumcision, breastfeeding, not breastfeeding. So the scope and the breadth that we are able to provide for a couple or a single mom is extensive and it's thorough, and we're there. So there should not be, in my world, I don't believe that there should be any mother who does not get the support she needs. Not on my watch. I don't want anyone to be afraid of having a baby. Our statistics for intervention and C-sections is pretty significant here in the United States. We're in the high 40s compared to the rest of the Western world. So we're really poor on the outcomes. And when you have your own handpicked team with you, you're getting a quality of care that you can't get. There are doulas who do pro bono, scholarships, and of course, by fee. Each of our doulas have had life experiences that you can't rock them off their feet because they've had 100% success in going through life with whatever it is they overcame. And that's important because I believe that moms and babies and doulas are divinely chosen. Somehow you meet. Somehow you are attracted magnetically by the law of attraction to each other. And you build that trusting relationship. And you have the outcome you're looking for. So if you are expecting and you haven't met somebody, you don't know much about what doula services are in your area or who or what childbirth education programs are in your area, and you'd like more information, please reach out to us. If you go to doulafamilycertification.com, put in the inquiry to contact us, and we will be happy to reach out to you. I'm a master connector, and I have over 10,000 people in my phone. And these are relationships I've built worldwide. So you don't have to be in the Chicagoland area to benefit. Believe me. You're calling me all the time. Do you know this? Do you know that? If I don't know, I know who to call and how to find that information out. So it's a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations. This is a whole new year. Looking forward to serving in any capacity we can. God bless.